everyone, Mrs. Albers here. I'm going to do another read aloud in honor of Autism Awareness Month for the month of April. And this time I have my friend Julia here with me. If you've ever watched Sesame Street, then you know Julia. She's a character who lives on Sesame Street and has autism. So what that means is it just makes her brain work and think a little bit differently, but she's a kid who wants to have fun just like anyone else and wants to have friends just like everyone else. So we're going to learn a little bit about her by reading We're Amazing 1, 2, 3. This is a picture of Elmo's friend Julia. Elmo and Julia have played together since they were really little. They like to do lots of the same things. Elmo likes blocks. He builds really tall block towers. He also likes to knock them down. Crash! Julia likes blocks too. She lines them up in a row. Cool wall, Elmo says. Elmo likes to play with his toy cars and trucks. So does Julia. She especially likes spinning the wheels around and around. Elmo and Julia both like playing games on the tablet. Elmo looks at the screen and giggles. Banana begins with the letter Z, he says. That's silly. Julia laughs. No, it doesn't, she says loudly. Julia goes with Elmo to the playground because they both love to swing. They even made up a swinging song. Swingy swing, swingity swing, they chant. Abby arrives at the playground. Hi, Elmo, says Abby. Who's your friend? This is Julia. Julia, this is Abby, Elmo says, but Julia doesn't look at Abby. Hi, Abby calls loudly, but Julia doesn't answer. Your friend doesn't like me, says Abby sadly. Elmo doesn't think that's true, Elmo says. It's just hard for her to talk when she's swinging. So Abby waits till Julia is done. Hi, Julia, she says again. Can I play with you and Elmo? But Julia just looks down. Abby is confused. Elmo's daddy told Elmo that Julia has autism, Elmo says, so she does things a little differently. Sometimes Elmo talks to Julia using fewer words, and sometimes Elmo says the same thing a few times. Can I play? Abby asks Julia. Can I play? But Julia doesn't look at Abby. Oh, and sometimes Elmo waits a long time for Julia to answer. So Abby and Elmo wait. Finally, Julia says, play with Abby and Elmo. Sparkle-tastic, Abby says. What should we play? Julia says, spy? I spy? I love that game, Abby says. I spy with my little eye a blue feather. Julia looks around. She quickly spots something, runs over to it, and comes back with the feather. She laughs and flaps her hands around and around. Flapping is what Julia does when she's excited. Elmo jumps up and down, and Abby spins in a pirouette. That's what they do when they're excited. You're an expert at I Spy, Julia, Abby says. Julia starts to sing. She has a pretty voice. She sounds loud and happy. Wow, your singing is really pretty, Julia, says Abby. She joins in, but she forgets the words to the song. She asks Elmo what comes next. Elmo thinks. Sorry, Elmo doesn't remember. But Julia remembers. She remembers the words to song after song. The three new pals sing together for a long time. So what should we do next? Asks Elmo. Snack, says Julia. Off to Hooper's store. But inside Hooper's store, Julia seems scared. She claps her hands over her ears. What's the matter? Asks Abby. Julia has really good ears, Elmo explains. Sometimes she hears noises that Elmo doesn't notice, like the noise the blender makes. She really doesn't like it. Don't worry, guys, says Alan. I'll turn the blender off. Then Julia takes her hands away from her ears. cocoa for me, Abby decides. Hot cocoa for Elmo too, Elmo says. But now Julia seems worried. She shakes her head back and forth. No hot, she says. Alan thinks for a minute. Cold chocolate milk for you, Julia, he tells her. Thanks, Elmo and Abby say. 1, 2, 3 mugs, Julia counts. Yeah, and 1, 2, 3 friends, Abby counts, pointing to each of them. The 3 friends sip their drinks. And 1, 2, 3 milk mustaches, counts Elmo, giggling. We're all amazing. 1, 2, 3. So it's important to remember if you meet a friend like Julia who has autism, or just meet a friend who maybe does things differently than you, that we can all be friends because we're all different and we're all amazing. Happy Autism Awareness Month.